The unclosed files. World War II officially ended on September 2, 1945, but the shadows it cast did not vanish with the signing of the surrender documents. While the history books focus on the massive movements of armies and the fall of empires, there is a parallel history composed of events that defy conventional explanation. For decades, declassified files from the CIA, FBI, MI6, and Soviet intelligence have revealed mysteries so profound that time has only added layers of ambiguity rather than clarity. We are not talking about urban legends or baseless internet speculations. We are talking about events recorded in official military reports, judicial testimonies, and diplomatic archives. These are stories of submarines crossing oceans undetected, luminous objects observed by multiple crews, and treasures of incalculable value disappearing in the chaos of war. Today, we dive into the most intriguing, unexplained episodes of the conflict. The mystery of the L-8, the ghost airship. On August 16, 1942, a routine mission turned into one of the most baffling aviation mysteries in history. The U.S. Navy patrol airship L-8 took off from Moffett Field, California, with two experienced crewmen, Lieutenant Ernest DeWitt Cody and Ensign Charles Adams. Their task was simple: patrol the San Francisco Bay for Japanese submarine activity. At 7:42 a.m., Cody sent a radio message reporting an oil slick, a possible sign of a submarine. He announced they were descending to investigate. That was the last time anyone heard from them. Hours later, the L-8 was spotted drifting aimlessly toward the coast. It eventually came to rest on a street in Daly City, striking parked cars. When rescuers reached the gondola, they found a scene that made no sense. The door was open, but the interior was in perfect order. Parachutes were still in their racks, life rafts were untouched, and even a half-drunk cup of coffee sat undisturbed on a table. There were no signs of a struggle or a sudden impact. If the pilots had fallen or jumped, why were their parachutes still there? The door had been opened from the inside. To this day, the bodies of Cody and Adams have never been found, and the L-8 remains the only documented case of an aircraft flying and landing without its crew under such stable conditions. The most dangerous general. Was Patton assassinated? General George S. Patton was a force of nature, but his death on December 21, 1945, remains shrouded in suspicion. On December 9, 1945, a military truck collided with Patton's staff car near Mannheim, Germany. It was a low-speed accident, and the other passengers were unharmed. However, Patton suffered a neck injury that left him paralyzed. The controversy lies in the context. Patton was a vocal critic of the policy toward the Soviet Union, believing the Red Army should have been stopped much further east. He was preparing to return to the U.S. to go public with his views. Suspiciously, the truck driver was never disciplined, no formal investigation was conducted, and the truck itself was never inspected. In 2008, a former OSS officer, Douglas Bazata, claimed he had been ordered to stage the accident and that Patton was later finished off with warfarin poisoning while in the hospital. While declassified OSS files show Patton was under surveillance, no smoking gun has been found. Was it a tragic accident, or was the general who knew too much silenced before he could speak? Foo Fighters. Unidentified objects in combat. Long before the modern UFO craze, World War II pilots were reporting strange phenomena in the skies. In November 1944, a bomber crew over the Rhine Valley reported two reddish-orange spheres of light following them for 30 minutes. These were the Foo Fighters. Reports flooded in from B-17 and B-24 crews across Europe. Allied command initially thought they were secret German radio-guided weapons. However, after the war, Interrogation of German scientists revealed that Luftwaffe pilots had seen the exact same things and thought they were Allied secret weapons. The objects never attacked and never interfered with aircraft systems. If neither side owned them, who or what did? The Hans Kohler machine. Impossible energy. While the world fought for oil and resources, a German inventor named Hans Kohler claimed to have discovered a way to generate free energy. In the 1920s and 30s, his devices, the Magnetstromapparat, and later the Stromerzeuger, were tested by reputable scientists and even the German Naval High Command, OKM. Witnesses reported that the devices produced a surplus of energy despite having no obvious external power source. In 1943, a model reportedly worked continuously for 3 months. Kohler himself couldn't explain how it worked, suggesting it extracted Raumenergie, energy from space. The prototypes were destroyed in bombing raids in 1945. After the war, British intelligence interrogated Kohler, but could not replicate or debunk the phenomenon. Operation Mincemeat, the man who never was. In 1943, the Allies needed to deceive Hitler about the invasion of Sicily. Their solution was as macabre as it was brilliant. They would use a corpse. British intelligence created Major William Martin, a fictional officer whose body was dropped off the coast of Spain, carrying secret documents suggesting Greece was the real target. The plan worked perfectly. Hitler moved his panzer divisions away from Sicily just in time for the Allied landing. But the identity of the major remained a mystery. For years, he was thought to be a Welsh vagrant named Glyndwr Michael, who died from rat poison. However, conflicting evidence suggests it might have been a sailor from a sunken ship. The true face of the man who changed the course of the war after his death remains a subject of debate. Yamashta's Gold, the legend of Golden Lily. One of the greatest economic mysteries of the war is the fate of Yamashta's treasure. Legend says that under the supervision of Prince Chichibu, the Japanese organization Kin no Yuri, Golden Lily, plundered trillions of dollars in gold and art from occupied Asia. As Allied forces closed in, the treasure was allegedly hidden in a network of caves in the Philippines. While many dismiss this as a myth, there is documentary evidence that OSS agents accessed some deposits in 1945. Some researchers believe this black gold was used by U.S. intelligence to fund covert Cold War operations. In 1996, a Filipino man named Rogelio Roxas won a lawsuit against the Marcos family for stealing a golden Buddha he claimed to have found, though the full extent of the treasure remains hidden. Admiral Canaris, the spy at the top. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris was the head of German military intelligence, Abwehr, but he was also one of Hitler's most dangerous enemies. Canaris used his position to protect the resistance, employed Jews to help them escape, and even persuaded Franco not to let German troops through Spain to take Gibraltar, a move that saved Britain. The mystery is how deeply he collaborated with the Allies. He met with MI6 heads in neutral countries, and it is suspected he was involved in multiple plots to assassinate Hitler. He was eventually caught and executed in 1945. Was he a traitor? Or, as he claimed in his final message, a patriot trying to save his country from a monster? The U-977 and the escape to Argentina. In May 1945, as Germany surrendered, the U-977 submarine took a different path. Instead of scuttling, Lieutenant Heinz Schäfer led his crew on a record-breaking 66-day underwater journey to Mar del Plata, Argentina. The U.S. Navy spent weeks interrogating the crew, suspecting they had smuggled high-ranking Nazis or even Hitler himself out of Europe. While no evidence of passengers was found, The U-977 proved that a German submarine could cross the Atlantic completely undetected by Allied surveillance. The case of the U-530, which arrived earlier with missing logs and an incomplete crew, remains even more suspicious. Conclusion: the echoes of the past. These stories are just a few chapters from a war that generated more questions than answers. From ghost airships to impossible machines and hidden trillions, the declassified files of World War II continue to challenge our understanding of history. As more documents are released and more graves are opened, perhaps we will one day know the full truth. But for now, these events remain as they were in 1945, documented, verified, and completely unexplained.